Welcome back to episode 142 of The Chosen Life. I'm your host, Jonathan A. Cohen. When you look up in the dictionary, The Chosen Life, you're probably going to see a picture of where I am today. I am here graciously being hosted by my friend, my brother, and I think I can say my client. No, I can't really say that, but he is the one, the only, Mr. Lahav Reznik, Forest Hill. Lahav, welcome finally to The Chosen Life.
Finally, buddy. I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I know you wanted to get this to a certain point. I didn't realize it was going to be episode number 142. I'd like to say that any one of those numbers are my lucky numbers. Like I like 143. All right, that's I love you. So we're almost there, and you know what? Maybe we'll do 2 episodes in a row. Who knows? Maybe we'll try to do that. We'll see what happens here, buddy. But thank you for having me on. This is awesome.
You know what? I never knew 143. I never thought of it as I love you. And now I'm always going to think of 143 as I love you.
Yeah.
So from now on, I'm going to text you instead of LY, love you. It's going to be 143.
Perfect. I'll accept that anytime, buddy. Anytime.
This could have been an episode about backyards to the stars. This could have been an episode of Kicks where we talk about sneakers.
Yeah.
Could have talked watch time today.
Yep.
So many different things you and I bond on, talk about. But man, how many years now going back that we've known each other? It's got to be, 15, 16 years at least.
Yeah, at least.
At least. Maybe coming close to 20. It's been a while.
We got to clarify, though, because I have not been prepped on anything yet, so I have no idea where this is going. So you're asking me for a number, and it's hard enough for me to even remember my anniversary date. So exactly how long it's been with us. I think we're about 15, 16 years. Yeah.
It comes so fast.
Yeah.
And we have a mutual friend, and one of those things, like I've known him since grade 1, and what I always tell him is, you have given me one of the greatest gifts in life that anybody's ever given me. And the one thing I tell him is, you brought me Lahav. You introduced me to Lahav, and I'm forever grateful for him for that, because he doesn't do that introduction, and I don't meet you. My life is way different. I'm not living the chosen life. I'm living the, oh my God, I can't believe this is my life.
I don't know about that. Listen, you were built a certain way. You were built to do exactly what you do. You would have ended up in the exact same place, if not better. But you know what? This has been a fun ride for us, and we're nowhere near done.
We're just getting started.
I know. And the chosen life's a great way to position this. Every day we're choosing to live it fully, and differently but fully. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for everything. And like I said again, I'm just glad to be here tonight. Beautiful night. It's hot as hell. Oh, bro, we thought it might rain, but we're doing okay.
This is not from San Diego. This is not from Panama. We're actually in Ontario, and we're in Lahav's backyard here, and we're having a beautiful August time. And hopefully we'll be able to come back in future weeks and, set up here. And, this podcast was built originally before I even published my book, and the book, 6 Commandments of the Chosen Life, How to Live Your Life. And here it is, the podcast, The Chosen Life. Lahav, today it's all about you, man. And we've gone out so many times as friends, as brothers. We've had so many conversations about so many things. There have been so many times I wanted to pin you down and ask you a bunch of questions to get to know you on a more intimate level. And one way or another, we get off on all sorts of tangents and we keep missing off. So today I'm pinning you down. I want to hear the Lahav Reznik story. Finally, please.
We're going to go off on tangents for sure, but I'm here. I'm here for you.
Please.
I'm excited to be here. Let's go. Kick it off, man.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Number 1, Lahav Reznik. Where you are today looking back, I got to know, where from sitting here now, part of the Force of Legacy team with your brothers in arms, and where you guys have come together, multiple offices and dealing with luxury real estate. I mean, there's so many things I think about when I think of Lahav Reznik. I got to know, we're winding it back. What are the origins? Where did Lahav Reznik start in real estate?
Oh man,
please.
That one I actually haven't gotten. I've been on a few podcasts. That one. So let's take it back to when my dad was around, and he was a handy guy the whole time. A mechanic by trade, and always said, learn to work with your head and not your hands. Meanwhile, I love to follow in his footsteps, and we had this basement. He decided he wants to finish the basement on his own, and back in the day, it's done very differently from what it is now. And we ended up working together in the evenings usually, because he'd come home from work, and we would finish this basement. And I got the love for renovations, and then I got the love for getting into a house, renovating it fully, then turning around and flipping it. Karen and I, my wife, we did that about 9 times in a 12-year period, with little kids. And we'd live in it, renovate it, turn around, sell it, do it all over again. So I was always in real estate. And then I got to the point where I knew, for me, I'm a sales guy. I love to provide value to people. I love to be able to, make people smile, try to make a difference in their lives. And the real estate and sales combined together, it was a no-brainer. So I got licensed originally when I was 24 years old, 25 years old.
So it's been, about 5-10 years now?
Yeah, basically, pretty much. Less the wrinkles, of course, but
we can airbrush those over.
Please, in post, let's do that. Did that for a while, and I wandered off and did some other things just to be able to learn and educate myself in different worlds. Came back to real estate about 20 years ago, and ever since then, it's just been amazing.
But when you first came and we got connected together, we didn't get connected as friends, as brothers. It was in the real estate realm, and we got to know each other as real estate lawyer and real estate agent, right?
Yep.
And we worked together that way. And I remember vividly, very vividly, that you gave me the call. I was thinking, and I'm ready to start making the progression in my life. I was associate lawyer. I wanted to go start my own law firm, and I had a whole bunch of things in my head.
Yes.
And eventually I ended up joining Kormans as a partner and moving forward. And you gave me the call around the time where I was thinking of where my future was. And you said to me, hey, I decided to make a jump. I'm going to be joining up with Forest Hill. And not only am I joining up Forest Hill, I'm going to have partners.
So it's interesting because when you had made that transition from the big firm, over to your own thing, what was interesting was that one of the last deals that I had with the firm, ironically, you could not represent me because the firm was so large that they represented so many different sellers, and I had purchased a property that seller was represented by the firm. And I looked at you, I'm like, dude, like, I need you to represent me. You're like, things have changed since then, I know, with the rules and so forth and so on. But back then, as soon as you were making that transition, I was like, good, he'll be able to represent me always, which I needed,
Well, just for clarification now let's go back, because one of the things, like, this is like therapy for us.
That was for this house.
I know it's for this house. Okay. I'm sitting here for this house I couldn't represent, and trust me, that's one of the reasons why I left.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing if it was an individual seller, individual buyer, under the rules, and they still technically are, 2 different lawyers from the same law firm can act. Right. But because that was a builder developer client, where they deal with on a grand scale, they said, we're not touching individual buyers when our other client is the builder developer. And they said, sorry, you're not allowed. And I was not happy about that. No coincidence that I didn't stay very long after that. So,
and what was interesting was I was forced to use another lawyer for that. And I know you're upset.
It's like watching your girlfriend getting taken out to the prom by another guy, and it's like, man, it hurts. It hurts.
We could use a lot of metaphors to be able to compare that. But the point I was getting at is that one stint of you not closing that deal for me was enough to make me realize that, you're my guy for life. So, and since then, so, I moved over to Forest Hill. Opened up Vaughan office, which was amazing with my brothers, Michael Switzer, Steve Switzer. I love you, boys. We went from having 40 agents in the first, I believe it was in the first 3-4 months. We had 40 agents pretty quickly without a physical location. We were working out of Starbucks. And many of those agents are still with us today, which is incredible. Yeah. And we've grown since. We've opened up an Aurora office with one of our former agents, Barak. Shout out to Barak. And
who's, by the way, going to be on the show in the next few weeks.
See, there you go. As long as it's not episode 143, I'm okay with that.
Oh, that's yours.
And we also opened up our Witchwood office down in Bathurst St. Clair area with Freddie. Freddie, I love you, Freddie. Along with our partners, Kathy, which you've had on the show as well, and daughter Rebecca. Freddie was also one of our agents as well. So we grew from within, which was pretty amazing, which made it easy.
I saw Freddie having a sign, by the way, of property on your street.
He just actually, it's ironic, it's sold conditional on the same night that he just gave birth to his second child. So congrats, bro. Like, you're going to see this probably a couple weeks in, but we love you, and congratulations to you and Lena. That's awesome. Second kid. Yep.
And he's going to be on the show later on this year as well. So Perfect. There you go. So now, Lahav, let's talk honestly now. Between you and I in therapy again, there are so many different real estate offices. You had so many options. Why did you go with Forest Hill? When you came to me, you told me this is the company I need. I feel comfortable with them, and here we are, so many years later, and you've grown the brand with them, and so ingrained. When I think Lahav Reznik now, I think Forest Hill. Why Forest Hill?
Look, I prior to Forest Hill, I was with another office that I was just a number at the office. I was just an agent, just a number. Owner barely knew my name. Agents really didn't interact. It was missing the boutique feel. And really, it was classified as an overall brokerage that services anything and everything and always, which is not a bad thing to do. But Forest Hill had the cachet. They had the feel of luxury. It had a whole different approach into the marketplace. It was boutique. It was small. And you know what? We were coming in just at the beginning of the growth stage. Yeah. So we were one of the first few offices that opened up outside of the main core, outside of Toronto specifically. And the owners are amazing. Like I said earlier, we're partners with Kathy, who's one of the owners as well, which worked out really well. So it was just a good meshing. It was just a really good fit.
And go along with fit, you also told me, oh, by the way, I'm going to have partners in this, the Switzers.
Oh wow, that was yeah.
And I had known them. I didn't even know you knew each other. I knew the names because I always saw the signs on Bathurst. And, it took time. I got to know them. Now I'm brothers with them as well. Man, especially when you're not working together, let alone being in partnership, how did you have that gut feel? How did you know that they were the ones that you wanted to do this with?
So this question I get a lot. Yeah. And I'll tell you, prior to even getting into the situation, I went to my mentor. Okay, Rob, I love you, buddy. Your brother. I went to my mentor and I said to him, I'm thinking about going into a partnership. You have had many partnerships, which he had. Some failed, many were successful. I said, what do I need to look for in this situation to know whether or not this partnership is going to work? And originally, it was just going to be with Michael Switzer. It was, his brother wasn't even in the picture initially. So it was
I did not know that.
Going to be just with Mikey. And my mentor turns to me and he says, just go with your gut. I'm like, really? I got to go with my gut. I went with my gut. Mikey and I fell in love. We were actually, what was interesting was we were doing an inspection at a property. So I'd sold his client. So I was representing the seller. He was representing the buyer. We sold the house. He came in for the inspection. He was there for the inspection. We sat down. We started a conversation. And we said at that point, one day we're going to open up a brokerage together. And lo and behold, that happened. He brought in Steve right away and said, look, I'm only doing this if my brother Steve is involved. He brings a whole other, characteristic to the relationship, which he does. In fact, sometimes I love Steve more than I love Mikey, and sometimes I love Mikey more than I love Steve.
They are so the same and so different.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
yeah.
that was the best fit. Our situation right now, I know they have my back always. They will go above and beyond each and every time, as will I for them. And to find a partnership like that, it's hard, as you know.
And look, it's very much, I know having my partners in the past, and still, when you have this work relationship partnership, it's like a marriage.
Yeah.
And I got to ask you, man, because then you have a work marriage with them, essentially. You have your home marriage in personal, plus you're a father. Every time I tell you there's an event or let's go out, you're available, and yet you have time for your clients and you're always there for them as well. It seems like you're there for everybody. Man, how do you balance it all? How do you do it?
It's all my wife.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's all my wife, because she knew going into this what this would look like. She knew, taking on the sales at 100% commission scenario, what that would look like. She knew that what opening a brokerage would look like. She knew that part of my world is out there having to, engage with other people. It's having to network and knew what it's all about. And so she supports all of it 130% of the time. My daughters have grown to understand that that's my world. That being said, we have our time, and it's important. And being in the position where you have a career where you're flexible, you have flexibility in your time, and I don't necessarily need to be in an office in a cubicle from 9 to 5 all the time. So when I've got my off time, it's being spent with the family, and my dogs.
I love it, man. Listen, I think it's all about family time. It's all about that cohesion, you know. And I see on social media, you guys do family vacations and you do all sorts of outings. And I always say to myself, it seems like he's everywhere all the time. How does this man do it? And I gotta say, it's very impressive because knowing your wife, you and I have talked about this before, but you know, it's such a small world. I went to university with her,
Yeah.
and I remember first year university, I saw her in undergrad, and we had our tutorial together for political science out of all things. And the one thing that always stuck with me, I didn't know her from anybody. The one thing I always said, and I told my buddy in that tutorial, I said, she's damn smart. Holy moly.
Yeah.
She always knew everything. She was asking the right questions, knew the right answers. Just a very brilliant mind. I knew that from a young age, meeting her, and very engaging, very social, like wasn't very stock up about herself, but had confidence, but knew her stuff.
Yeah, no, she's great in the support and all, and she helps me also organize my time. And there's a lot of other variables and factors that make it easier to be able to do all of it. I even want more. It's like, give me more. It's like, where can I be in next? You know, what business opportunity is there? What venture can we get into? Or you know, like these are the things that we're trying to look for, because reality is you have the control over it. You really do. You know, like you can choose to spend half the time not in a great place, or you can choose to take that same time, be in a great place, and do something with it. So, you know, it's easier said than done, and I've had many years to train myself for that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to maintain it. So yes, absolutely. And obviously the book kind of supports various aspects of that. So, which you need to be proud of the book, by the way, buddy.
I always
I'm
say,
just saying.
you know, it's one of
I'm
those.
just saying.
It's one of those funny things as an artist, and as life goes through, when I see other art forms and where people are at with it, I notice the ones that the writers, the artists, the sculptors, the ones that get the most recognition for their work, it's when they're long deceased. It feels like there's something attached to it once a person's gone.
Yeah.
I feel like this book, maybe 2 generations from now, will be considered a Bible. Don't know if it'll be during my lifetime or not, but I didn't do it for that. I did it because that was important to me. I get my satisfaction in helping others, as I know you do as well. And there are times I'll tell you honestly, like I wake up in the morning, I see the book beside me, and I got to pinch myself and say, how the heck did I do that? How is this humanly possible?
So you don't actually have it on the pillow next to you. It's on the end table. I thought you had it on the pillow, like sleeping with it together on the. So, but you have it on the end table.
You know I'm type A. I don't like creases, man.
I know. You and me both, buddy. You and me both.
Do you? I gotta ask you a silly question,
Yes.
man. Like seriously, because I know in things I look in my life and gratefulness, and I say, if I had known 20 years ago this is what I was gonna have, I would have taken it in a second. But I gotta pinch myself at times. Have you ever sat down, dinner with your family, your wife, sat down with your clients, sit down with the Switzers, come into the office, come home, look at this backyard? Do you ever pinch yourself and say, man, is this real?
If anybody who knows me, I every day, every single day, I am grateful, and I want to enjoy and live every single day to its fullest. And part of that is embracing everything and all that you have, right? It's not, listen, there's always going to be ups and downs. It's how you deal with it that's going to make, you know, you different from somebody else. But the overall concept that here I am today as, you know, an immigrant son to 2 parents who barely even still today could, you know, speak English well. And they both worked 7 days a week with zero lie, many hours a day. And I took that grind and made with it the best that I can. And all I want is the same for my friends, for my family, my kids specifically. But it's a tough road. And especially now for our kids, it's a tough road. So we'll see what happens.
And I will give you all the credit in the world for so many things. But one of the things is, you are generally there for your friends. Anything they need, from advice to a second set of hands, whatever it is.
Okay, we gotta stop with all the.
It's true.
Okay,
but
this is look.
I'm buttering you up. We're going somewhere with this. We are going somewhere with this.
All right.
Lahav, man, I'm having too much fun. So I have a couple of more difficult questions for you as we're ending today's episode, because with your permission, I'd like to come back for a couple more weeks and get through, because we've barely touched the surface.
Yeah, I'm in.
So as I'm ending today's episode, I'm going to hit you with 2 harder questions, knowing everything we said up till now.
Now you got me worried. Okay, go.
2 different spectrums. Number 1, Lahav, that being said, for all the gratitude you have and where everything is in life, looking back, closing your eyes and thinking about it, if you could do anything differently knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently?
Not a single thing. Look, I'm here, you're here, because of everything we did leading up to this point, and I'm happy. I'm fulfilled in many ways. I've still got lots of growth. There's lots of things that I'm going to want to see, with my kids and the weddings and to grow old with my wife and
Grandfather one day.
grandfather one day. Not anytime soon, please. Shira, Talia, Danny, just focus. School for now. I wouldn't change a thing because I may not end up in this exact same place. Could I have done something else and made a lot more money, or a lot less money, or ended up with a different wife, or like, I know where I am. I wouldn't change a single thing. If anything, in fairness, I probably would have made some choices sooner. I would have chosen to invest in real estate sooner. I was always, afraid to do that. I was very conservative, but I wouldn't change the overall scenario.
And I agree with you 99% of the time. When people ask me that question, I tell them, look, I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely.
But all those mistakes led me to where I am, and I wouldn't take away anything I am at today, so it was all worth it. The only thing I would do differently, and watching your kids grow up, and imagine you're going to be an empty nester one day, right? I wish I could have savored it even a little more when they were younger, when I could have spent more time, could have just enjoyed every time, snuggle time, reading a book, going to events. So that's where now I tell myself I can't go back in the past.
I'll tell you,
but I savor it more today.
I'll tell you, even if you did do that and you spent 24/7 with them, you'd still be sitting here saying the exact same thing because that would not be enough.
It's never enough.
There's never enough, and it goes by so quickly. And we've all made lots of mistakes. And look, reality is that you just need to embrace each and every day for what it is. Make the most of each and every day. You really, really need to.
So last question, I'm going to give you an underhand.
That was an easy one, actually.
That was the hard one. I'm going to give you the underhand one so you can hit the game-winning home run grand slam here. Because I can tell you, I've done many seminars over at Forest Hill Vaughan and the other Forest Hill offices, right, over in Aurora, Witchwood. And one thing about Vaughan I noticed, and I don't know if you notice this, every time we have a seminar there, by the time I'm done, reading some lunch, whatever, I walk to your office. Generally, the office door is closed. There's a new realtor in there, and they're talking to you every single time. Got to ask you, when the new realtors come and they say to you, Lahav, please help me help myself, what is the advice you're giving to those realtors when they're starting off in the industry?
Look, it's not a secret. It's not a secret, and it's not just the new realtors that are coming through. Agents generally, unless they've got a good sales cycle in play and they've got a good system and a good base, even successful real estate agents have these dips and valleys. And when they're at the bottom and they don't have anything going on, that's when they're coming in and saying, I got nothing going on. What do I do? And look, the minute details of the advice that I give them, it's different for every agent. Mm-hmm. But the one consistent thing that I keep hammering them with in different ways is you just got to work. That's the bottom line. There's no other way to put it. You need to put in your hours and you need to work. Nothing's going to happen with you sitting at home in your underwear. Nothing's going to happen with you spending 5 days a week at the mall, doing nothing. Nothing's going to happen with you spending 8 hours of moping around. Nothing will happen. You need to put in the work. What that work looks like, again, different for each agent. But if you're not putting in the hours, you're not putting in the work, nothing will happen. You will always be in that position. Nothing will change. Some people are built for it. Some people are not. Some people can be trained.
And I don't care what profession you are, what your occupation, business, that advice, I think, transcends everything. But especially when you are on 100% commission and nobody is feeding you a steady paycheck, you got to do it. You just got to do it.
The issue is in this world, a lot of the offices, a lot of the managers out there, they're afraid to give the hard love. And they just give the agent the answer that they're looking for. Do this and do that. Like, there's a difference. When you kick somebody in the ass and you have them understand that, look, if you want to do nothing and work, if you just go get yourself a full-time job. In reality, you want somebody to stand over you and make sure that you're doing your job. Go get a full-time job, and you likely won't last at that one either. So in our world, you gotta put the work in. You put the work in, you're willing to put the work in, we'll show you what it's going to take to get you to six figures, then mid 4, 5, 600s, and then into seven figures, which we've done. So that's the reality. You got to put in the hours.
And I got to say, man, I go to enough real estate offices. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Most offices struggle even on team meeting day, seminar day to get people out. You come to Forest Hill, Vaughan, man, it's always bustling. That's
Yeah.
one of the things. And any GTA and surrounding areas, I always tell people, you want to see an example of teamwork and cohesiveness, go to that office. So kudos to you and the Switzers
We're proud
for
of
the
that.
work you
Yep.
guys have put into that.
Thank you.
This is Lahav Reznik, and we're going to be back next week, and he's going to bring us back in, and we're going to be talking about the world of luxury and how that works
Oh, that'll
in
be
the
exciting.
Chosen
All right.
Life podcast.
Love you.